But I guess they're ready. Good evening. Welcome to the August 17th, 2022 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. At this time, I would request that everyone please turn off or mute all cell phones and other electronic devices. And at this time, I would invite everyone to stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Back this thing up. Applications for preliminary plats heard during tonight's meeting will also be voted on by the Planning and Zoning Commission during this meeting. The vote on preliminary plats is final. Only a recommendation for denial of a preliminary plat will be heard before the County Council at their Monday, September 12th, 2022 meeting. The following documents are introduced as a matter of record for this evening's public hearing and regular meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. And those documents are the Unified Development Ordinance of St. Charles County, including zoning maps, and the year 2030 Master Plan for St. Charles County, which includes the year 2030 Future Land Use Plan map. I see that we have a quorum. Is there a motion to open the meeting?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, sign aye. Aye. Okay, the meeting is now open. I will explain how our meeting works. I will read into the record the application. We will then have a report from staff, and we may or may not have questions for staff. Then we'll ask the applicant to come forward and present their application, and we may have questions for the applicant. And then once the applicant has presented their application, we will open the meeting for public comment. Okay? If you are going to speak during the public comment portion of the application, please fill out one of these cards. They're right here at the end of the table. And this way we ensure that we get your name, address correct in our minutes. So if you're going to speak, please fill out one of these cards. And then once we have closed the public hearing, then we may ask the applicant to come back to address any concerns that were raised during the public hearing. But once we've closed the public hearing, we will take no more input from people other than the applicant and staff. Okay, our first item on the agenda is application PRE 22-08. This is a preliminary plat for Bradford Square located at 4500 Central School Road. Property owners is the 501 Partnership, Kenneth C. Hawkins Revocable Living Trust, Ronald S. Bowers and Ruth Ann Bowers. The engineer for this project is Bax Engineering Company. Proposed lots are 2. The parcel size is 3.415 acres. The location is on the south side of Central School Road, approximately 650 feet west of North St. Peter's Parkway, adjoining the city of St. Peter's. This is located in Council District 3. Staff.
You mentioned this is 4500 Central School Road. You review and approve lots of plats, but normally they're residential developments, and here we have a commercial one, which is a little bit different. There are 2 lots there currently, and they propose a total of 3 lots, how you want to count those, and I'll talk about that in a second, plus common ground in the lower southwest corner of the property, which is the lowest portion, and it has a detention basin. So the common ground presumably would be owned by a property owners association, which would manage that common ground and the detention basin in the southwest corner. The reason I mentioned the number of lots, they're indicating that one existing building would become an outlot. Typically, we don't call them outlots. We just say that you're either a lot or you're not in the subdivision, one or the other. But maybe the applicant could explain what they're proposing with that. And other than that, it's pretty straightforward. There are existing buildings on these 2 parcels, including a strip commercial center. It's got a scuba service, and I think there's a Walgreens. Please correct me if I'm wrong. It meets the technical requirements of Chapter 410 of St. Charles County's Code of Ordinances.
Any questions for staff? Hearing none, ask the applicant to come forward. I'll need to swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings under the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is John Worm. I'm with Bax Engineering, 221 Point West Boulevard in St. Charles.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, the preliminary plat is is to be recorded for record plat purposes only. There's nothing new proposed. From what I understand, it's so that the individual buildings can be sold. And that's about all I know. I'm not the one the person who was supposed to be here tonight couldn't make it, and so I was asked to step in, so I'll do the best I can.
So there's no building or anything, they're just dividing what's currently there?
Yeah, they're
to
just
sell?
dividing it up to separate the buildings in case they need to be sold off individually.
Okay.
Any other, any question, any other questions for the applicant?
It appears that the, one of the lots is to the rear. Is that, is it landlocked, or essentially, if they were sold the front off, or how the access rights going to be to that back lot?
On there's, in between the Outlot A and Lot 1, there's an easement.
Okay,
Well, it's not recorded yet, but it looks like there will be a cross-access easement
Okay,
to
that's-
be able to
that-
access that lot number 2.
okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you, sir. We will now open the public hearing for preliminary plat for Bradford Square. This is PRE 22-08. Anyone wishing to speak regarding this application?
We're talking about
You got,
water base, can I?
Come on up.
come over there, okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings or the pains and penalties of perjury?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Del Smith. I'm at 4538 Central School Road. I live next door to where this plot is at. We have water problems through the creek now. I'm worried about the water. I thought they were going to develop this a little more, and we're going to lose a little bit of land and have it turn into asphalt. That's what we're worried about. The creek that runs through there right now is out of hand, needs to be, somebody needs to adjust the creek, it's out of hand. We get water, when it rains real hard, it floods our properties. So it needs to be addressed. And that water base that is there that catches the water, that needs to be checked to see if that is working. That was put in to catch all the water of the Walgreens and we're curious to see if that is actually even working, if all the water goes into that base.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak regarding this application? Anyone?
She doesn't hear very well. She's also a neighbor. Okay. But that's okay. We have the same concern as what we have. She's a neighbor to me on the property, so we just both basically have the same. She just doesn't hear very well at all.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing for PRE 22-08, the preliminary plat for Bradford Square. We'll ask the applicant to come back. Are there any questions for the applicant?
Just to clarify, there's no plans for developing this further, we're just separating it and we're not changing anything?
That's from what I believe, and what I was told. It's just for plating purposes anyway, so that in case they need to sell off a building, they can.
Okay.
It'll be on
And then
its own lot.
if in the future, just to clarify, especially for those here, if they did want to develop it more, they would still have to go through the same process of, getting all of the plans and
Yes,
everything
yeah, they would
permitted
have to
and
go
going
through all the
Yeah.
engineering aspects and all the standard codes and county review and everything.
So doing this today doesn't give you any further rights to develop than you would have already had, correct?
Correct,
Just wanted to clarify that.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Retention? Where is it on this?
Oh, it's way.
Down in the corner?
Southwest corner.
corner, yeah.
Says like common ground A on it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, common ground
So what,
A.
is it supposed to catch water or not? I mean, what's it?
That's the way it looks like it's designed to. I don't know how old the basin is, but,
So I guess for staff, Robert, what do they, don't they inspect those on some as-needed basis or?
Yeah, there's an inspection process that takes place, including when they subdivide
Right.
property. So I'm
Yep.
sure the development review inspectors have been out there as part of the subdivision review, plat review. And if it appears to be not functioning, then they would notify the property owners it needs to be repaired.
Since this would be a new subdivision, for lack of a better term,
Yeah.
does our new water quality control standards apply now that this was being split into two?
I think when the property is developed, at some point, yes. Yeah, they'd have to leave a certain amount of green space or provide water quality improvements. Yes.
So
Okay.
before they developed it, not necessarily when you plat it, but before you develop it is when
Yeah.
you'll have to do that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, right. According to the staff member who's been out here, he indicates that there's existing natural grasses occupying about 2 acres or 90% of the proposed second lot. So right now, it sounds like it's able to absorb water, and it would still need to as well, once it's developed to a certain extent.
I have one more question.
Yes, sir.
The rear lot, as I'm looking at the drawing here, appears that it backs to the, I guess you'd call it the new St. Peter's Parkway. Do they have access rights from there to the property? Do you know? I mean, for a driveway.
is it St. Peter's Parkway or is it Missouri 364?
There's
There's an outer road.
There's an outer road right
Oh,
there,
okay.
too.
I don't know the answer to
There's a
that question.
driveway
Well,
there.
it looks like there is an access, it looks like there is an entrance there.
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When we,
on lot two.
a few years ago, if I remember this correctly, a temporary fireworks stand went on the back of this property, and they accessed across the driveway that we're talking about. And I remember this because we held approval of the access for that driveway because they had to do some engineering calculations because they just wanted to throw in a stormwater pipe and throw gravel over it, and it would affect people downstream. We told them they had to do engineering calculations, and they were really upset because they said, this is just a temporary fireworks stand. And we said, well, that pipe's going to be there for a long, long time after the fireworks stand is gone. So I'm pretty sure this is the same property.
Gotcha. So in the future, they could, if they develop that back lot, could access it off that road, apparently, it looks like.
I believe so. I don't want to bind or speak on behalf of the highway department, but I believe they could since they have
Okay.
frontage back
Yeah, I
Yeah, it
just want to
looks
get
like
an overall picture. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant or for staff? Hearing none. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Any questions, comments, concerns from the commission? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to approve PRE 22-08, which is a preliminary plat for Bradford Square located at 4500 Central School Road. Is there a motion?
So
Motion.
moved.
Second.
Ms. Barr made the motion.
Second.
Yeah, you're up here. Okay. Mr. Clary, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Fromm?
Yes.
Ms. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Halter is not here. Mr. Jackson, Didn't come in. Mr. Shell?
Yes.
Ms. Mamer?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So 1, 2, 3, passes 6-0. Okay. Thank you. We have, next item on our agenda, we have no continued items. Next item is approval of the minutes from the January the 20th, 2022 regular meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the July meeting?
Motion?
Is there a second?
Whatever you want to take, second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes from the July 20th, 2022 meeting. All in favor, sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Other business, planning and zoning division updates.
Well, I don't have a necessarily planning and zoning related items, but I thought I would tell you that we have a new building and code enforcement division director starting next Monday, and his name is Rick Meister. And he's starting on Monday. He's going to head up the building code enforcement division. So I will no longer have to be the interim director for building code enforcement as well as planning and zoning. So during my brief tenure as the division director for both divisions, we had the flash flood. And one of the things that we worked on was the inspection of properties to determine the extent of the flood damage. And I'm pleased to say that within a week, we had done a visual assessment of around 2,300 properties that were either in the flood zone or adjacent to the flood zone in unincorporated St. Charles County and in the jurisdictions we contract with. So following up on those visual surveys, we also gathered reports of people who contacted the county, said that they had water in their homes. We followed up with letters to all of those people, providing them with the next steps, what they need to do. Those includes, here are some services for you for if you've been affected by flooding, for instance, if you've had property damage, if you're homeless, and other things you need. We also let them know about how to apply for assistance from FEMA. Now that the flash flood has been declared a national disaster. And we started inspections on homes that have been damaged. So we have around about 80 homes that were substantially damaged in the unincorporated county and those other jurisdictions. Countywide, there's I don't remember the exact number, but there's around 250 homes that were substantially damaged countywide. For instance, the city of St. Peters and O'Fallon, there was quite a number of homes. And a FEMA center has been opened up in Hazelwood. If you go to the county's website, you can get information on how to contact FEMA. I think it's disasterassistance.gov, for instance. Also, if you're a small business owner, you can contact the SBA, the Small Business Administration, at sba.gov, and learn about how to apply for assistance for your business. I did learn today that from a homeowners association, which had damage on their property of a lake, that they contacted the Small Business Administration. Well, they went to the FEMA center, and they were told by an SBA representative that because they have a homeowner association that qualified as small business. So potentially, if there's a homeowner association and you own improvements and you're incorporated, you may want to check with FEMA or the SBA to see if there may be assistance that's available. I do know that there's been assistance for individual assistance, plus governmental agencies who have been affected, which includes St. Charles County. We had over $500,000 in damages to public streets. That's just what we were able to document in the first couple of days. I'm sure there's more to that. So those are some things going on in our world.
Thank you.
SBA helps, for example, I just went to my doctor's office today and their whole office was flooded. So they would contact the SBA.
Yes.
Because they were talking about contacting FEMA, they didn't know how to do that.
They can contact either one. If they contact FEMA, they may direct them to the SBA.
Okay.
But
Because I know insurance didn't cover a lot of these things because they didn't have flood.
exactly, this flash, a couple of things. A lot of people don't have flood insurance, period. And
Unless they're in a flood zone.
yeah, and the flash flood affected a lot of people outside of flood zones. This was really different than the 2019 flood, which was in these bigger river floods, which are more predictable in some ways, because you can tell 3 or 4 or 5 days in advance that the flood's coming. But the flash floods, there's really very little warning. Also, the water was in people's homes for less than 24 hours by and large. I mean, there were some people longer than that. So it was very different than in 2019. We had water in people's homes for weeks or sometimes months, a few months on end. And it's just a different sort of a disaster event that we have to respond to. So,
Okay, thank you. Counselor, do you have anything? Okay. Anyone else? Anything else for the good of the cause? Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, sign aye.
Aye.
That was
We're
a very
adjourned.
short meeting.
Right.
Here we go. This is Amanda's parents.